We're thrilled so many of you have joined us today across different areas of the payments industry. Today, we'll be discussing the convenience and benefits of Click to Pay, a secure and seamless online payment solution designed to enhance the customer experience of online checkout. I'm pleased to introduce you to our hosts, Gustavo and Adrian. Gustavo is Director of Strategic Initiatives for Southern Europe, and he leads the rollout of Click to Pay and reports to Adrian, who heads product for Southern Europe. Before I hand over to our hosts, just a few housekeeping bits from me. So please be aware that today's session is being recorded. You should see a chat box option on the right-hand side of your screen. Please do add some questions in here. We'll be moderating your questions and we'll make sure we keep some of those for Q&A at the end. Any questions that we don't get time to cover, we will respond back to you. So rest assured, you will get a response to any questions you add there. Finally, before I hand over to Adrian, just to make you aware, this is a public event, so any information shared here is for informational purposes only. Adrian, over to you.
Hello, thank you very much, Ellie, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to the first Click to Pay webinar. My name is Adrian Trache, and as mentioned earlier today, together with my colleague Gustavo, we will be hosting the session. Three key topics on the agenda for today. First, we will be covering Click to Pay performance and where we are today in Europe. Second, we are very excited to hear directly today from our key speakers joining us from Nexi, from Worldpay, and they will share their experience in implementing and going live with Click to Pay. But as well, we'll have our colleague Petia, who will be joining, and she'll be presenting the iCard success story, looking from the issuer perspective. And finally, we want to talk you through what we have been planning to do and what we are actually looking forward to develop in terms of bringing Click to Pay awareness. To reiterate on what Ellie mentioned earlier, during the session, if you have any question, please post them in the chat. We will be looking to reserve 10 minutes at the end to address some of these questions. Any of the questions that remains unanswered, our account representative will be contacting you. So, before we go into the session, let me first share with you our latest hero video showing what problems we are looking to resolve for our customers.
It can't have been that bad.
I don't know, she just didn't turn up for about an hour. And we're supposed to be on a date, right? Give me a sec, Jazz. Fashion just dropped. Alright. Card details. Where's my card?
Are you still there?
Can't find my card.
Oh wait, what about that coat you're wearing?
Yes. Okay.
Did you get it?
And that's the problem we have today, if only. And Gus, let me hand over to you. What can we do about it?
Sure. Good morning, everybody. And well, indeed, Adrian, that was a missed opportunity due to some form of friction. That is a situation that probably a lot of us have witnessed or even experienced, right? And it helps us to really understand the voice of the customer here. But let's see how could it have been cleaned thanks to Click to Pay. Go ahead.
What was I? Oh yeah. So
Easy, right? Adrian, back to you.
Thank you very much, Gus. So, moving on to the next point. So this is Visa's vision. This is our goal. What we want to is to replace the PAN, the manual key entry that you have seen in the movie on the e-commerce, and we want to do this similarly as we have done. For example, chip and contactless have replaced in the past the magnetic stripe at the point of sales. So delivering on this vision, we aim for Click to Pay to bring first the consumer convenience and second the security of face-to-face contactless payments by eliminating the need need of entering 16 digits plus 4-digit expiration date plus CVV2, and ultimately removing all the dependency and reliance we have on PAN. Let me start giving you a short status where we are today in Europe with Click to Pay. We have 32 European markets enabled, over 8 million cards enrolled, and more than 7,000 merchant live. But most importantly, for the whole ecosystem, and the reason we stand so confidently behind Click to Pay, based on our most recent numbers from 2024, we are seeing a reduction in fraud with 91% versus PAN, and a 10% authorization uplift versus PAN. So this is really aligning with our Click to Pay vision. But this is only the start, and our next big challenge, as we know, we need to reach scale, and we need to solve the problem of scale and solve the classical chicken and the egg problem we have on the markets. This graphic shows us the pool of cardholder is set to grow over the next 18 months. These figures represent the active cardholder volumes that will be able to use Click to Pay when their issuers roll based on the existing plans that we have in place. So today, as mentioned, 8 million. We are looking to close 2025 around 77, almost 80 million. And based on the forecast we have from the work we are doing together with the banks, we are estimating around the end of 2026 to be 160 million. But we have additional plans and additional initiative, and our goal is that we reach around 80% of AUPV by end of 2026. And we are counting on the banks, and we are counting on all the participants to help us bring these numbers faster to the market. So Gus, a question here. If I'm an issuer, acquirer, PSP, or merchant, where can I find the necessary technical materials, branding, and best practices?
Sure, I can help you with that, Adrian. Where to go if you are not already familiar with how to participate in Click to Pay journey? Hopefully not the case for many of the attendees today, but always worth it to refresh. In essence, we have a suite of resources available in both our public Visa Developer Portal and Visa Access website. These materials will help you to understand why this is important, how we envision it to work, and especially support your participation in Click to Pay. For example, you will find there applicable rules for both issuers and acquirers, detailed requirements, technical specifications, and marketing and branding assets. It is very important also to mention as well that our consulting and Visa managed teams are equipped and ready to support you as needed. And finally, and as always, feel free to get in touch with your account executive or our product teams to get more information and engage further. Over to you, Adrian.
Thank you very much. And now we're moving to the second part of the presentation, the most exciting one. And I'm very happy to invite Sarah Lawrence joining us today. On the stage. Sarah is the Chief Product and Technology Officer for e-commerce at Nexi Group, with over 2 decades of experience in product and technology. Sarah, welcome, and thank you for participating to our event first, and for your willingness to share your experience with regards to Click to Pay. But before we deep dive into Click to Pay, I know you're being based in Denmark, and as everybody knows, Nordics countries are highly digitized and the cashless society. I must first ask, can you please share some insights on how e-commerce payments and consumer expectations are evolving in the Nordics countries?
Yeah, of course. So thank you first very much for inviting me. I've been looking forward to this. This is a topic that's we discuss on and off all the time and have been for a couple of years. So of course, Nexi covers throughout Europe, and we have different online acceptance solutions for clients throughout Europe. But the Nordics is perhaps particularly interesting in this perspective because arguably the Nordics is an area where Click to Pay is in a catch-up game because we've almost come out a little bit too late with this solution, right? So if you look at the Nordics are economies where the digital payment is the rule. They're almost fully cashless. I mean, I carry cash, but it's not cash for the Nordics. It's cash for when I go to the south of Europe that I carry. Otherwise, I don't carry cash. Mobile wallets are hugely prevalent, and almost everyone has a mobile wallet. Even kids have mobile wallets. People use the Google Pays, Apple Pays everywhere, in shop everywhere, highly adopted solutions. And what's perhaps also interesting from this perspective is that merchants have a very strong demand and a very high awareness on the payment methods that they want to offer, and they have strong demand for super low friction payment methods. And in this context, cards have been a little bit challenged for the very reason that was illustrated by the video that you just showed, right? Click to pay is a solution to that, but in the Nordics, that solution, is now catching up, because the reality is that we have merchants where 80% of their payments are going through wallets, not cards, because of the frictionless nature of that payment. So for that reason, it's an interesting place to start, just to set the context. That's not yet the reality across Europe. So if that is not yet the reality, then all the more reason for coming out with Click to Pay before it becomes a reality.
Thank you. That's very insightful, and hopefully we're catching up the rest of Europe with Nordics when it comes to digitization. My first question I have for you with regards to Click to Pay is, what made Nexi Group, a very large group, to choose Click to Pay as an acquiring solution?
Yeah. So as I mentioned briefly before, we have different solutions across different geographies in Europe. We also have very different market dynamics across different geographies in Europe. And when choosing where to go first with Click to Pay, that has been a huge part of our considerations. So we have gone first where card payments are the most prevalent, to get out early in the cycle and to help consumers with the payment method that they're already using. So we went first in Italy, where cards is a big part of the payment method and the payment mix. So that's been one major contributor to deciding when to go. We've also been lucky enough to have a good collaboration with yourselves, and have in certain instances received some help from you to do the actual implementation, and we have taken that opportunity, and that has also sometimes been part and parcel of doing an implementation perhaps a little bit earlier on. To be honest, up until now, we've seen quite limited interest from the merchants. The awareness has not really been there. And the reality has been that it is us that is creating the awareness with the merchants of Click to Pay as a solution. I see that changing now. So we're at a tipping point now where we begin to see merchants, in particular the very payment savvy merchants and the very professional merchants, having an awareness and asking for this solution. So I personally believe that we're at that tipping point now where that's going to change. So I think all those three things.
Thank you. You mentioned about the implementation, and I just wanted to ask you a little bit if you can share with the audience, from your perspective, how did you find the implementation? How long the project took, and well, how did everything go?
Yeah. So I think perhaps the most relevant experience to share is the latest one, which is an experience from the Nordics, where we spent, I think, just shy of 6 months doing the implementation. I would have to say in that context that we chose the opportunity as we were implementing this to do a revamp of our checkout. So that implementation included a rather large rebuild of certain parts of our checkout. And we chose the opportunity to do a bunch of UX, user experience nerding, if you want, with the checkout solution. The technical implementation itself has been easy, and I would say our teams have high praise for the technical support that they've been given by the schemes. So that's not necessarily where the time goes. The time has gone into the nerding with how the user experience looks. And in particular, you have to think that the majority of consumers are not signed up to this yet. So there is this balance between how do you make this really easy and at the forefront for consumers who have the knowledge and who have signed up, but for those who don't recognize the logo, yes, this cannot stand in the way of creating that frictionless experience. So you need still that balance between the ability to enter card details in the way that's recognized by most consumers and the drive towards using Click to Pay. So the time is spent there in the implementation, but I'd say the last one was from our perspective fast and well supported with the technical knowledge we needed.
Great. So now you're live. Very straight questions. Are you happy with the current Click to Pay performance? And can you explain a little bit how is Nexi Group choosing which merchants to enable and to go live with them?
Yeah. So the answer to the question about the performance, in short, is yes, but with a caveat. So the yes is the following. The yes is that the conversion improvement that we see when the consumer has Click to Pay, that is excellent. So if a consumer has Click to Pay, what we've seen is that from the moment when you're in the card flow to you've completed the payment, we've halved the number of failed payments. That is a pretty impressive change to conversion from this change, right? When I say with the caveat, that's because what we're also seeing is that not a lot of consumers have it yet. That number is driving up with a good speed, but it's coming from a very low place. So as an example, we have a large merchant in Sweden that's gone live with this solution. They went live round about the same time that a campaign was being run in Sweden to create awareness about Click to Pay. When we started, we saw around 5% of consumers being able to use this solution. Over a few months, when a campaign was running, that doubled, but that's still a fairly low number.
Okay, thank you. Last question from my side, and first of all, again, thank you very much for all the insightful and all the feedback. It's very well received, and it's something which, as I mentioned earlier, we are working to scale up, and we need to resolve the awareness topic and as well the enrollments. But what do you see as next steps on Click to Pay for the Nordics and the Nordics group in general?
I think I want to call out two things. I think the first one I want to call out is that we're looking forward to being able to enable this on merchant-initiated transactions. That is on one side because we have quite a lot of those transactions in our mix. It is also because I strongly believe that economies are going in that direction, and we're seeing more and more of the sort of subscriptions-based, unscheduled card on file type transactions. And so that other half of the solution is going to be very important to complete the picture. So we're looking forward to that being ready. The other thing that I would call out very strongly is adoption. And I believe we probably have quite a few issuing banks on the call. So I just, an encouragement to take that seriously. This is something that, frictionless payments is super important for the merchants. So this is very important on their side. It will only happen if the consumers have this enabled, and the merchant side is not the most natural side to enable it on. Depending on geography, there is more or less trust from the consumer to an online payment. And if you're in a situation where, already the online payment window, Germany is a good example of a situation where, an online payment window might be less trusted than a bank interface, then that is not the right place to convince a consumer to come on board. We will get a much faster and bigger conversion from the consumer side as the banks and the issuers of cards step in and help with that enablement. So that is something that we're very much looking forward to, so we can drive that number of consumers for which it's an available option up.
Thank you very much, Sarah, for all the feedback and the inputs. And as we have been discussing in the past, we are taking actions to address all these pain points. Right? It's an evolving solution. Thank you again, and I'm handing over now to Gus to tell us about a new experience with Worldpay, please.
Sure. Thanks, Adrian. Now we will keep hearing from the acceptance side of Click to Pay through our next guest speaker. So Shane, right in time, she's joining us in stage.
Thank you.
Hello, Shane.
Hi. Thanks for the introduction and for having me here today on behalf of Worldpay. As mentioned, I'm Shane Wilson. I lead our go-to-market strategy and commercialization efforts for a number of network products at Worldpay. To kick it off, I believe we're going to start with the video that Worldpay made in collaboration with Visa. Here are a few words from our SVP of Strategic Innovation, Nabil Manji.
Okay, let's go for it, Shane.
To me, Click to Pay is really the new standard that's going to revolutionize online shopping for consumers by making the experience and the journey much more effortless by removing the need for them to implement or input their card number. And I think that's going to be particularly notable in the guest checkout experience where you haven't saved your credentials or haven't shopped with a merchant before, but you'll be able to do so now without having to go through that painful process. So in the same way we've seen contactless payments revolutionize in-person payments, we're expecting Click to Pay to have a similar impact for online transactions. Right now, if you think about online shopping, merchants are really struggling with issues like cart abandonment and high fraud rates, but we think some of the features associated with Click to Pay, like biometric security and passkeys, is really going to help solve some of these key challenges. For these reasons, we really think Click to Pay is a catalyst for a new era of online shopping. We're always focused on how can we deliver new products and services to make the experience better for our merchants and their consumers. When we invest, it's targeted at improving one specific thing, reducing fraud rates, increasing conversion, offering more payment choice, or some other benefit. But the really nice thing about Click to Pay is that we get all of the above through enabling it. So for these reasons, we're really excited about the ability of Click to Pay to transform online shopping. We found implementing Click to Pay to be relatively fast and effortless, and a big reason for this was we used Visa's new drop-in UI, which requires really minimal coding. As an added benefit, because of its compliance with EMVCo standards and the ability to scale across multiple schemes, it's really seamless for our clients to use across any device or browser. So for these reasons, it really was an easy implementation process. Using the drop-in UI is a really big deal for our clients. Whenever they're thinking about implementing a new payment feature or functionality, it always comes down to a question of cost versus benefit and the time it would take to implement. Because Visa's drop-in UI is relatively simple and low code, it gives our clients the ability to roll out Click to Pay relatively quickly and easily, which therefore allows them to deliver the consumer benefits quickly and easily. So it's a win-win. At Worldpay, as one of the world's largest payment processors, our relationship with Visa is critically important to us, and we're really happy with the support they provide. If I look back on our rich history, whether it was launching Visa installments or network tokens together, or now looking forward to the European launch of Click to Pay, this relationship is really important to the success of both firms. So as I think about the future and what the future of online shopping is going to look like, I think the partnership with Visa and the innovation that we can both drive is really going to be key to improving the lives of merchants and consumers for online shopping.
Perfect. Thanks for sharing the video, Gus. We can move over to the next slide. But it's really a pleasure to be a part of this discussion on the Worldpay side today and ultimately talk about the importance of the relationship between Worldpay and Visa. As mentioned in the video, our partnership has always been focused on driving innovation in payments. And I think Click to Pay is a perfect example of how we're working together to really improve the online shopping experience for both merchants and consumers. So I want to kick things off by talking about three main points where Click to Pay and Worldpay are really making a difference. First, on the left-hand side here, let's talk about our partnership with Visa. So at Worldpay, teamwork is at the heart of success, and we really, really believe in winning as a team. Our longstanding relationship with Visa has been crucial in bringing these products to market. We've had some other recent successes, as mentioned in the video, with Visa installments and network payment tokens, which I think showcases our strong collaboration on both the product and commercial front. The second point, next, we genuinely believe in the product. So as an acquirer, I think we're not really only in the business of processing payments anymore. Our focus is on providing payment technology that really does two main things. One, help grow our clients' top line revenue, and two, make our merchants accessible to all potential customers through our suite of products. At Worldpay, we always try to think like our customers, and I think Click to Pay is a perfect example of that. It really does reduce friction, it cuts down on that cart abandonment, and it enhances security. It really commits to kind of that fraud reduction as well. Ultimately, it's boosting conversion rates and capturing more revenue for our merchants. So we really do believe in the product. And on point three, we as Worldpay view this as the future of online payments. Click to Pay is the new e-commerce version of contactless payments in our eyes. We don't view this as a value-added service, but really as a new way of paying online. Just like contactless payments kind of revolutionized in-person transactions, we expect Click to Pay to have a similar impact on online transactions. We can move to the next slide, Gus. Thank you. So we're at a really exciting time for the product. We recently launched our UK pilot, and we're looking to go live with our APAC pilot next month. Off the back of our pilot period, we've seen really good metrics, and I'll touch on a few of those. First and foremost, I think one of the biggest advantages is the boost in approval rates. Traditionally, long checkout forms slows down the process and leads to drop-offs, as we all know. With Click to Pay, those barriers are removed, making transactions smoother, and we've seen authorization rates improving from anywhere to 2 to 5 bips. The second point, speed is everything in online shopping. Click to Pay significantly reduces the time it takes to complete a transaction. On average, we've seen it's about 20 seconds faster than manually entering card details. That's a game changer for conversion rates and customer satisfaction. The third point is the omni-channel consistency. So shoppers today really expect a seamless experience across devices and platforms. Click to Pay delivers that by providing a single unified checkout experience, whether the customer is new or returning. And this is the kind of consistency that we really believe is key to building trust and encouraging repeat business. One of the other main flavors, security, I think it's always top of mind. As Click to Pay is built using authenticated network payment tokens, we're also combating the risk of fraud, potentially lowering fraud rates by about 2 to 4 bips as well, as we've seen in our pilot. So safer transactions for both shoppers and merchants. And finally, one of the most direct impacts we've seen is a drop in cart abandonment. Before Click to Pay, about 17% of shoppers abandoned their carts due to the hassle of manually entering their card details. And by simplifying that process, we're keeping more customers engaged and driving more completed purchases. So ultimately, the pilot is delivering on its promise. Click to Pay is faster, it's more secure, and it definitely is a more efficient checkout experience. It's really kind of a win for merchants looking to increase conversions and for customers who ultimately want a hassle-free way to pay. So as adoption grows, we really expect those benefits to become even more impactful. We can roll to the next slide, Gus. Thanks. So this is our Rethinking launch event. This kind of marks a major milestone in our journey to transform digital payments. We officially launched our Visa and Worldpay partnership on Click to Pay in February of this year, and we're working closely with top UK merchants to really drive that adoption and awareness. So we've kind of started a Click to Pay roadshow on the Worldpay side of things. First point here is we recently launched Click to Pay at one of our Rethinking series, which is a joint thought leadership initiative between Visa and Worldpay. It's particularly significant because this was the first Rethinking event in the UK. And more importantly, it was our first joint first to market product launch. We had a really strong turnout. There were about 50 tier one UK merchants joining, including some of the biggest names in the business in retail and travel. EasyJet, Harrods, Tesco, Sky, ASOS, to just name a few. Our goal with the event was really to increase awareness of the Click to Pay product and our partnership with Visa and how important that is to the success of this product coming to market. By doing so, we really aim to generate strong merchant demand and encourage widespread adoption across the industry. Finally, this launch is really significant because WorldPay is Visa's first to market partner for the drop-in UI, which is a multi-scheme Click to Pay solution. Next slide. So we recently had some great media coverage following the launch of Visa and WorldPay, our partnership on Click to Pay. The press release on the left, you can see here, it really highlights the impact of our collaboration. And I think it reinforces the benefits of the single click checkout experience. It also showcases the momentum that we're building with key industry players. Ultimately, these announcements, they really help drive awareness, merchant adoption, and consumer trust. It's key to really making Click to Pay a widespread success. Next slide. So as we look forward, on our focus is on expanding Click to Pay and driving further adoption across markets. Some of our key priorities for this year, so we're live with our pilots, as I mentioned. We have a pipeline of select merchants and we're ramping to scale that up. On the product front, we're rolling out the Click to Pay offering to several other WorldPay gateways by the end of the year so that it is available to more of our merchants. We are engaging our merchants through different industry events and global outreach, and we are focused on APAC as well, piloting next month. Our collaboration with Visa remains super strong. We have a number of ongoing marketing efforts. We participate in weekly go-to-market calls with them and spotlight kind of even driving that momentum together. So in terms of what's next, market expansion is a key priority. Like I mentioned, APAC, but we're also scoping the US. We're integrating more networks. So at the moment, we can support MasterCard. We're aiming to enable American Express next. Recurring payments is a huge piece for us. We really want to be able to support recurring payments on Click to Pay. And that's going to be a major focus for the next quarter to really kind of unlock more use cases for merchants and customers. But really exciting times ahead as we continue to simplify digital payments and kind of accelerate that adoption. That's all I have on my side today. Thanks for your time. Gus, I'll hand it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Shane. Very great stuff indeed. So, but let me now maybe ask you a question, right? So it's related to what feedback have you received from merchants since the launch event? How do you see Click to Pay impacting their businesses?
Yeah, great question. I think the response from merchants at this point, it's been overwhelmingly positive, especially on the back of our launch event. We had great feedback. I think on both the Worldpay and the Visa side, some great relationships there. I think a good example would be one of our merchants is a major UK retailer, and they previously saw pretty high checkout drop-off rates, especially on mobile. And that was primarily due to the friction of manual card entry on guest checkout. But since adopting Click to Pay in the pilot, they've really seen a significant reduction in abandonment and a smoother, faster checkout experience in general for their customers. So I would say merchants are telling us that this is not something only to improve conversion rates, but really to kind of enhance that customer satisfaction and ultimately win-win for both businesses and shoppers.
Awesome, thanks. And maybe last question from me, right? So I was thinking, looking ahead, what are the key steps Worldpay is taking to ensure the long-term success of Click to Pay in e-commerce?
Yeah, I would say Worldpay is really committed to making Click to Pay a long-term success, especially in e-commerce. We're focusing on 3 key areas. First, I think it's scaling adoption through strategic merchant partnerships. The second would be we're expanding kind of network integrations to include different payment schemes. And lastly, really enhancing that functionality. So I know I touched a bit on it on the last slide, but really enabling those recurring payments. FIDO biometric capabilities as well is something we're scoping. And down the line, one thing that I'm really excited about because I work across both products would be integrating Click to Pay with our Visa installment solution. So really bringing parity with both of those solutions. I think by continuously optimizing the experience and making it easier for merchants to implement, we're really ensuring that Click to Pay is going to become kind of the go-to checkout solution for seamless, secure online transactions.
Fabulous. So yeah, exciting future ahead. So thank you very much, Shane, for your attendance and active participation. I'm now handing over back to Adrian.
Thank you both.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Shane. Very, very insightful. Moving on to our next guest speaker, which is Petya. Petya is our payment solution senior manager in Visa Europe, based in Sofia, and she leads our engagements with iCard, a very innovative and key client in Central Eastern Europe. So, Petya, can you please bring to life the iCard experience for implementing and launching Click to Pay from the issuer side perspective?
Thank you, Adrian. And hello to everybody. I'm very happy to present the first issuer offered Click to Pay live implementation in Europe with our partner iCard. Unfortunately, they were not able to present it by themselves, but I have their request and permission to be their voice today. First, let me introduce the company a little bit. iCard is a licensed electronic money institution founded in 2007, offering issuing, acquiring, and processing services. They are based in Bulgaria, but are operating in many European countries under the European passporting rules. The project was the first opened and finished project, and I'm glad that iCard trusted us and had the courage to be the first. Both teams were very dedicated, and it helped the project to be smooth and successful. And the implementation went through the usual stages like testing, certification, and live proving without major issues. And it was really fast. It finished within less than 6 months from starting to the first enrolled live card. Before the start, we performed together with the clients several workshops to deep dive the solution, to discuss the possible implementation approaches, also sharing some legal aspects that Visa can provide. And based on all that, iCard performed their own legal assessment, and they decided to take the auto-enrollment approach for all their customers. We believe that this is the best approach, both from technical point of view, like implementation efforts, but also from a user experience point of view, providing easiness and trust and eliminating additional friction for the end user. In the next two slides, I will show you how the user experience was designed. When the certification was done and the terms and conditions updates were finalized, it was at the beginning of November, issuer sent click-to-pay communication to all customers via two channels, emails and in-app notifications. And in this communication, they included educational part for the service, date for the auto-enrollment, and also to avoid legal issues, they provided an option for opt-out prior to the initial enrollment. It was done by sending a link to the card settings, where the customer simply can choose which cards to exclude from the service via toggle, if there are any. I want to mention that this was a very successful communicational approach. They really include the educational part in very structured and easy to understand way. And based on that, the information from iCard that they provided is that there were almost none opt-outs before the initial enrollment. After they enrolled all the cards, it was around January, around end of January, the company released a new version of their mobile application with lifecycle management possibilities in it. They adopted a seamless and convenient way for opt-out and opt-in from and to click-to-pay, providing a toggle option within the card settings of each card in a separate tab called click-to-pay. And again, they put the same structured and easy to understand educational part for the service. For updating the user details like email, address, name, they didn't implement additional screen or option just for click-to-pay. When a customer changes this data in the core system, they were updating it for click-to-pay as well. For us, this is the recommended flow because for the cardholder, it will be good if the data will be consistent in each services they're using. As a conclusion, it was a very successful implementation, not only because it was fast and without major issues, but also from educational point of view. And the result is that till the moment, after the initial enrollment, the opted-out cardholders from the service are very few, less than 2% from the whole database. Thank you. And now, handing over to Adrian.
Thank you very much, Petya. Very, very insightful and yeah, very, very, very interesting as well to hear, the perspective from the issuer side. I think now we are going to move to the third section and the last section. And as you have been hearing before from both Shane and from Sarah, right? What do we do to increase click-to-pay awareness? We all know the way people pay online is changing. Consumer expects fast, seamless, secure checkouts, and you've heard how click-to-pay delivers exactly that. But we also know that enabling new payment solution takes efforts and consumer recognition and awareness, and that's why we are scaling our investments in marketing and sponsorship. So the next section, we are dividing it into two components. I would start first by what we are doing when we speak about business to business. So since 2024, we have scaled our B2B marketing investment and effort. As you know, the key to making click-to-pay a success is activating the entire ecosystem, similarly as we have done for contactless. Through 2025, we have launched an always-on event and media strategy where we are highlighting how click-to-pay is the cornerstone of the future of the UX, with keynotes, speech delivered by Mathieu Alveg, our head of product for Europe at Merchant Payment Ecosystem events. Yesterday as well, it was another event, Pay 360, where we as well have been presenting, and we are going to increase awareness also at Money 2020 later this year. This amplified online via digital paid media, including partnerships with large publishers like Business Insider to spread the benefits of click-to-pay and accelerate merchant enablement, which we are seeing resonate with an engagement rate 5 times more than the industry media benchmarks, and the numbers of merchants turning on increasing. Now, from a business to business to business, B2B2B perspective, from the first quarter of this year, we are starting doubling down on partnering with enablers, such as earlier mentioned partnership. You heard Shane speaking about Worldpay, aiming to drive merchant demand and, of course, penetration. And as well, we are investing in B2B2C. Probably you already have seen in the market many of our merchant campaigns rewarding cardholders to use click to pay when making a purchase. This is from business to business angle. I will hand over now to Gus to bring the consumer perspective and the marketing awareness campaigns we're doing in that direction.
Sure. So speaking about the consumer again, indeed, we all, of course, know that visibility and trust are crucial for adoption here, right? That is why we have started leveraging first our sponsorships and partnerships to make sure consumers start seeing the click-to-pay icon. As you know, Formula One, to start with, is a global phenomenon, reaching over 725 million fans worldwide, and click-to-pay is no part of that experience. It's very exciting. During the 2024 season, click-to-pay branding was prominently featured on the Visa Cash App RB Teams cars and driver apparel across 7 of the European races. This helped us ensuring massive global reach with an estimated 280 million in exposures. So the next one is women's football, which is, as you of course know, seeing explosive growth, and Visa has been a long-term supporter of the UEFA Women's Champions League. In the 2024 final alone, we introduced click-to-pay branding on LED billboards, reaching 3.6 million live viewers and more than 50,000 in stadium spectators. So this is first ever product integration from Visa through our UEFA Women's Champions League sponsorship, designed to align click-to-pay with a high growth and engaged audience. And last but not least, I wanted to mention the NFL, which global fan base is growing rapidly, 22% year-over-year growth in international viewership. In 2024, we featured click-to-pay across the 4 European games, 3 of them in London, 1 in Munich, educating consumers on the benefits of click-to-pay by linking it to contactless for online shopping, as we said before. And as part of our Munich activation, we also had high-impact digital and stadium branding, and our brand tracking showed an increase of 27 percentage points in click-to-pay awareness and 30 percentage points increase in intent to use for people who recall the campaign versus those who didn't. But at the end of the day, why this all matters to you? Well, because these partnerships aren't just about visibility. They are just about driving real adoption and business impact. We at Visa are committed to making click-to-pay a recognized, trusted payment option. So when you enable it, you are tapping into a growing, engaged audience that's ready to use it. And that's all from me as well. So handing over to Ellie for closing.
Thanks both, and thanks everyone so much for joining the session. We hope you found it really informative and you're just as excited about the opportunity that Click to Pay offers as we are. I understand there were some individuals that had some audio issues. Apologies to those that did have some issues there. This session was all recorded, so we'll make sure that you get the recording will go out to everybody so you can watch that back. So yeah, we will move on to Q&A now. I am just going to go into the chat and start to go through some of the questions. So yeah, keep those questions coming in. If we don't get some time to complete them all in this 15 minutes we've got remaining, we'll make sure we come back to your questions. So let's start off with a question to Sarah, please. Sarah, if you're able to join us back on stage, that would be great. So what merchants, Sarah, do you see mainly adopting Click to Pay? Are there any business sectors that lead over others?
Yeah. The honest answer to that question is the merchants that mainly adopt it are the merchants that we propose it to, because of the limited awareness as of yet. So we propose it where merchants have a high number of card payments, for example. The merchants that show an interest themselves are the merchants that are large enough to have a competence within payments. So to have enough resource to be on the lookout themselves and keeping up to date themselves with what is going on. We see them asking themselves. So I think the question is perhaps equally about like, who do you propose it to? Like, who is it relevant for? And to answer this question, I'd say, you know, if a merchant is in a business where a drop-off means that the customer might go somewhere else, then this is a good solution to propose. If I'm selling something that they can't go anywhere else for, if they mistype the card and get annoyed, then, you know, less of a problem perhaps. So, but in short, I mean, we're proposing it to merchants. For us, that's a good thing, actually. Like when you as a payment solution provider can come to your merchants and propose something that is new and that helps with a known problem, that is not necessarily a bad thing.
Thank you, Sarah. Okay, so maybe Gus, Adrian, I'll point this one to you both. So could you tell us a bit more about passkeys and how it can further enhance the benefits clients get from Click to Pay?
You start? Oh, you want me to start? Okay. So I'll start. I think, you know, if we are looking in general, what's happening as a trend all across the world, right? And if you think from the perspective of the internet and the way things are evolving in the online, right? Everything we do today, it's in the online, right? But if you think from the perspective, how do you identify and authenticate the customer in online? This hasn't been properly addressed. And if you look on the payment ecosystem, right, on one side you have the Apple Pay, the Google Pay, you know, you have all these solutions who basically manage to leverage the fact that they own the device to provide really a great user experience by enabling biometrics. Now, if we think on all our devices all across the world, this hasn't been standardized. And I think there's been many initiatives from this perspective. And one of them, I would say probably the most prominent one, is the FIDO Alliance, right? And the passkey behind that one, which is looking to standardize as a single way of identifying consumers, identifying, in our case, the card holder, by leveraging the biometrics on any device. And obviously for us, it was the next step, right? How do we manage to make the user experience to be right there at the par with the best experience we see today in the markets, which is of course the X-Space. And that's why we are developing, and we are ready with Click to Pay and with passkey. Passkey provides security. Passkey also provides the necessary elements to meet, we know very well, our continental Europe set of regulation. And I would say that's my perspective. Gus, if you want to add that.
Thanks, Adrian. Maybe just to expand, because you did touch on Apple Pay and Google Pay there, and we did have a question actually come in, which was asking about if we could just explain the difference in terms of Click to Pay to those kind of other payment solutions like Apple Pay and Google Pay. What additional benefits does Click to Pay offer over these?
I will, just to continue on this one, I would say, you know, as I've mentioned before, right, the Apple Pay and the Google Pay of the world, they do provide what we are saying today, the best user experience. Where Click to Pay comes, it's, you know, to complement from this. From one perspective, it is device agnostic, right? So Click to Pay will be working regardless of your device, whether you have an iPhone or whether you have an Android device or some other type of device, being scheme agnostic. And second, I would say from this perspective, there is still a lot of room. Now, when we look in Europe, the manual key entry or the manual PAN entry, as you've seen in the commercial in the video at the beginning, that still represents about 30+% of all the transaction. PV wise, right? So from a value perspective, that's about half, because many people, especially for some specific merchant category codes like airlines and hotels, they don't always end up saving their card on file. So there is room as well for us to complement. In the end, ultimately, we are looking to bring all these solutions to the market to make sure that cards remains the best way to pay. And probably one more thing I would like to mention as a differentiator, versus the X-Pays, we are Visa network. We have been working with the issuers and the acquirers traditionally and the merchants traditionally for over 70 years. We are building the solution, and this solution of click to pay, which is for the issuers and the acquirer to control and to be in control of, and to provide the best payment experience.
Yeah, and if I may chip in, Adrian, on that one, just to complement. There is also, I believe, a big difference, which is following our strategy for auto-enrollment into Click-to-Pay, or basically placing Click-to-Pay as a feature of the card. The iCard example, there is friction in doing the provisioning of the wallets or the payment options. We believe that with Click-to-Pay and this approach that we are asking the European issuers to follow, we can get into a very relevant growth of consumer scale with minimal friction. And that combined with the universal aspect and characteristic of Click-to-Pay is basically making us think that we have a winning solution here. Yeah.
Thank you both. Great. And maybe if I could bring Shane back onto the stage as well. Just a question around sort of the pilots from a Worldpay perspective. So what learnings are you looking to take into your AP pilot, Shane, if you're able to join us back on stage?
Hi, everyone. Thanks. That's a great question. I think we worked really hard on this day one solution with the UK. It's a turnkey solution for a pool of our merchants, meaning a flick of a switch in the back end to turn a merchant on. We are going to continue to bring that solution first to APAC, and then focus on our larger, more direct bespoke merchant setups that would require some additional development work. I think the consumer adoption piece is also key. We really need to keep driving it alongside Visa and MasterCard. And I think it's really an example of how the networks have come together to almost get this product out to market as like the new way to pay moving forward. And we really need the issuers' help, I think, on that front too. One other learning I would say, a significant insight from the UK was the impact of mobile first checkout experiences. So in our pilot, we actually saw a high drop-off rate on mobile due to friction in payment entry. So I think, obviously Click to Pay drastically improved mobile conversion rates, but given APAC's almost mobile heavy e-commerce landscape, ensuring that smooth Click to Pay experience will be essential to win.
Thanks, Shane. We'll maybe one, I don't know, Gus, maybe if you could cover this. So could you kind of remind us of some of the more sort of cardholder specific benefits from a Click to Pay perspective, the main benefits and mainly cardholder kind of ones?
Of course, from the consumer perspective, I guess they mean. Yeah, it's about reducing friction first and foremost, as we saw in the video. That's the key one that we have. We have an experience here, which is the manual card entry that hasn't changed in probably 40 years since we launched the first e-commerce transaction. So that is something that we need to simplify. As Adrian said, there is basically a very decent volume going through that still. So by simplifying not only the process of entering the card details, but potentially the checkout experience with the additional data fields that Click to Pay stores is basically the number one. And then obviously the second one with passkeys that extends to the authentication, we believe, by providing a standard and what will be considered as a familiar way over the next months of years. We are pretty sure about that. And the second one, is about security, right? Because you get that information. It's not something that you need to export when reading the card or something like that, right? So, but to me, it's really consumer friction, the reduction that we can bring to the table in this experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Gus. So Adrian, then we have all these consumer benefits. What will Visa be doing to kind of support issuers in raising consumer awareness?
So as we have been discussing and presenting before, so we are making, of course, we need to make merchant campaigns from this perspective, which ultimately in the end is going to translate into consumer benefits, which fees for the consumer. Think about the reward mechanism and the reward programs we are putting in place. That's on one side. Second, of course, we are making different type of campaigns, and we have already been doing this type of campaigns in Germany, for example, B2B2C, right? Who are driving Visa together with the issuers who are driving the enrollments of the cards, and of course the usage of that cards through Click to Pay.
Great, thank you. Maybe more of a kind of product specific question, actually kind of follows a bit from the consumer perspective. And we do see that instances where consumers might use sort of different email addresses, how does Click to Pay kind of cater to those use cases for consumers?
Well, yeah, Click to Pay is I mean, the way it will work is that obviously there is a consumer identifier required that will basically link the consumer to the different credentials that they will have with the Click to Pay account. That identifier is the email. It will also soon be the mobile number as well. So that's great news because the mobile is probably more unique for a consumer, right, to link the different cards. But the idea is that any identifier that has a match in a Click to Pay profile will be used to retrieve the card. So if the consumer has different emails of link to that Click to Pay profile, those cards will be retrieved at the checkout time, right? So, but we hope that mobile also will be a very, very nice complement in the next months. We are enabling that as well. Yeah.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, maybe another question I've got here, just maybe one for Sarah, if that's okay. Just in terms of the differences in the markets that you operate in, with the Nordics and Italy, and the implementation of Click to Pay, how do you think about that?
To be honest, we evaluate each on a case-by-case basis. So we offer slightly different solutions in different geographies. And so for each, we evaluate when is the right time for that geographies. And we also have a mixed business. So in some geographies, we do issuing. And so in Italy, for example, we've been able to combine the issuing side with making it available on the online acceptance side. So it's very much a case-by-case basis of when it's right to do it. As I said earlier on, we've gone very much by geographies that have high number of cards as our priority number one.
Thank you so much. Just going through a few more questions. So let's take this question about the kind of again, another question around the customer experience, but I think this is a nice one just to talk about how Click to Pay caters for the multiple cards a consumer can have. So when a consumer has several cards from different brands, how does that unified and seamless user experience kind of come together?
Well, that's not an issue at all, of course, because Click to Pay is an industry standard. So participating schemes are part of Click to Pay. So if you have cards associated to a specific identifier from different schemes, during the checkout moment, if you are recognized with that identifier, all the cards belonging to the different schemes will be retrieved so that you can select and choose any of them for payment. So it's absolutely scheme agnostic in that regard. Yeah.
And I think just to add up a little bit of what Gus is saying, so we are standardizing everything from the perspective of EMVCo from this sense, right? So the same user experience, the same type of enrollment. I'm pretty sure the issuers in the call right now, they know that we are, and also the acquirers, they know that we're looking to align at EMVCo as a universal standard. The way we are doing the authentication, right? We spoke about the passkeys. So we want to provide as a single unitary solution from a consumer perspective in such a way that he says, oh, I see the symbol, I see the acceptance mark, I'm paying the same way regardless of the scheme. Hopefully they will choose Visa, but that's a different topic.
Maybe I can add to this because the low friction and the user experience has been super at the center of our implementation here. And normally I'm the person who fights every extra step in the payment flow, right? But I'd say that from a user experience point of view, this is a natural extra step. So you choose the Click to Pay and you immediately see your range of solutions. So it's the extra step it's the rare occasion of the extra step that the consumer actually probably wants. So it works quite well in that regard.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so we have 1 minute. Conscious, we do have other questions that have come through, but we will have to sort of start to wrap up the session. So please rest assured, we will come back to your questions. I just wanted to offer the opportunity for any final closing comments from those that are on stage right now, just in terms of Click to Pay before we wrap up. So Adrian, Gus, Sarah, if you've got any final points.
Let me first ask Sarah, give Sarah priority if she wants to add any final point, and then I'll complement on top.
No, I think, this is one of many super interesting developments to follow. This is such an interesting market to be in because of the speed of development. And this is certainly one of the areas that we follow very closely, and we make very conscious choices about when to do this and how to do this. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And I think from our perspective as Visa, just to wrap up, right? So we are doing really good progress. You've seen where we are today, right? We are not there yet, right? We still need the scale. We still need to grow. We do have the plans. We do have different solutions and options looking to gain that scale. And what we are really focusing, I would say, for the next 6 to 12 months, of course, it's complete the implementations we have on rolling. But in the same time, also make sure that we are growing the click to pay awareness. And I would like to also take the opportunity to thank everyone who had attended today and expressed their interest in the solutions. And yeah, let's make the e-commerce payments frictionless and secure as contactless for point of sale transactions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.